Welcome to another video here on the Giant Take Podcast YouTube channel. This is a fun one. If you could tell by the title, 2020 Giants Redraft. We are going to be going through 1 through 7 rounds, or rounds 1 through 7. That was a weird way that I phrased that. Rounds 1 through 7 of the 2020 NFL Draft and seeing who the Giants could have and should have taken. So, as you can tell from what I said there, could have, should have taken. The one rule that we had, or I guess it's two. Two rules that we had. One, the player had to be in the same round as whoever we selected, or whoever, So if it's not Andrew Thomas, it's got to be someone in round 1. Can't be someone in round 3. And the second rule is it has to be past the pick that we had. So it has to be anyone. It can't be anyone who was 1 through 3. Had to be past Andrew Thomas at 4 if we do someone that's not Andrew Thomas. Not saying that's what we're doing. That's just an example for the rest of the video. I'm Josh, and I'm joined by my co-host Alex. If you're used to his background, if you're used to here on the Giant Take channel, hopefully his video isn't lagging like crazy because he's not at home. He's not in his neutral location. But we are here no matter what to bring you that content. So if you're new or if you're here and you've watched the videos before, we appreciate you watching. Please subscribe below as well as drop a like and comment because we would love to hear your thoughts on the video and all of our content. If you have any ideas for this offseason, because as you can tell, we're already starting the offseason content talking about prior drafts because this Giants team sucks and it's time to move towards the offseason. Please let us know in the comments any ideas, stuff you want us to look at, as well comment. We would love to respond and hear your feedback. Anyway, Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. It's kind of been a throwback since I've thought about a lot of these ex-rookies, a lot of these 2020 draftees, these sophomores now in the NFL. And I'm excited to talk about them, look at some of the players we could have gotten, and, sit in pain in what could have been.
Right, get sad is really what we're thinking about here. Anyway, but there are a few positives that we will go into. I also have honorable mentions for each of the picks that I'll go through. But without further ado, because we took the first 2 minutes to address the intro, let's go right into it and start off with the first pick. The first round, pick 4 for the New York Giants, stays. Tackle, Georgia, Andrew Thomas. The man has been sensational at offensive line in the transition from year 1 to year 2. There are a few question marks in year 1, a little more than a few question marks, a little... Like my honorable mention, I have here tackle Tristan Wirfs, picked 13th by Tampa Bay. There was a lot of we should have gotten him. That still can very well be the case, but we both agreed. This is the agreement between both of us because we had 2 separate. We combined it to 1. This is our agreed 2020 Giants redraft together as co-hosts. We both agreed Andrew Thomas is the pick, and I'll give that to Alex. Sorry, I think I took yours. Your first guy here, sorry.
Looking into his 2021 season stats, many saw coming out of his rookie season that Andrew Thomas was probably the worst tackle coming out of the draft. This year he turns out to look like he is the best. 684 snaps played, 4 penalties, which is not terrible, and only 1 sack allowed in 684 offensive snaps, and only 1 in 450 around pass protection snaps. So he is elite in the run game. He is very good in pass protection. In general, Andrew Thomas has been a hit, and hopefully he continues to be very good for this New York Giants team. And now this is kind of where it gets interesting because we're moving away from some of the players we've actually drafted. It's nice to see that, hey, these players, they worked out. We're drafting them again. But sometimes you have to look and say, maybe there was better options available. And that's why Josh, who are we going to select here? At number 36 overall, we are redrafting Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs had a kind of disappointing rookie year, but in his sophomore year, he has really blown up.
This took a bit of convincing on my end. Alex wanted to go with the redraft of Xavier McKinney, so I put him as the honorable mention for this one. Also, safety Antoine Winfield Jr., pick number 45, also by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like I mentioned, a Buccaneer earlier in the first round. Winfield had a really productive, good first season. His second season, he's got a lot of tackles, doesn't have as many interceptions as Xavier McKinney, but who was originally picked number 51 in the draft by, unfortunately, our rivals in the NFC East, Dallas Cowboys. The cornerback out of Alabama, Trayvon Diggs, talk about interceptions, like I said, leads the league in interceptions right now with 11. A complete breakout year 2, sort of similar to how Andrew Thomas broke out in year 2. So good for him.
Yeah, certainly, and definitely a nice ball hawk to add to the Giants secondary. Moving into the third round here, this is with our end of the back end of the round pick, number 99 overall. We took Matt Parrott with that pick in real life, and right now in our fictional land where things are much better, the New York Giants select number 99 overall edge rusher Alex Highsmith. Highsmith went, I believe, only 2 picks after Mr. Parrott. And this season, he has been very good. 41 tackles, 6 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 16 assisted tackles for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had a 67.9 overall PFF grade, and he's been extremely solid for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the edge alongside TJ Watt. So I think he would have been a really nice piece to add to this edge rushing core. Unfortunately, just didn't really work out that way, and Matt Parrott was the actual selection, but Alex Highsmith, certainly a very solid player.
And Matt Parrott still stays up there getting my honorable mention, so I guess he is that to talk about if he wants to. I'm moving my camera a little bit. But anyway, he gets to take that home if he wants to. So Matt Parrott, my honorable mention there. Round 4, pick number 110 was originally Darnay Holmes, and we're going to stick at that cornerback selection and go with the man out of Louisiana Tech, L'Jarius Sneed, who was originally picked number 138. I'm having some problems with my words here. But anyway, Sneed has played for the Kansas City Chiefs and has quickly risen to their probably best, if not second best, cornerback on this team. With 3 interceptions his rookie season, 2 interceptions this year. And you go into the sack numbers, he's had 3 combined, 2 last year, 1 this year. And it's not all about sacks for corners, but a big thing is tackles. 68 tackles this season. 53 solo tackles and 7 tackles for loss this season. That's the big thing when you look at it. Not many players have a lot of tackles for loss, especially at the cornerback position, but that shows that he is really good when it comes off, when he comes off the side, things of that nature. So I think that completes our round 4, right? Of L'Jarius Sneed. You want to move on to round 5?
So going into round 5, this is certainly an interesting one because between our round 5 and round 6 picks, kind of broke our rules. I wasn't really sure about it. We were eliminating him. He's just a special mention. But Michael Onwenu from the New England Patriots was the pick before us in the 6th round. So he could have been technically an option here, but he didn't really fit in our 5th round because of the way we had our rules set up. Just wanted to clear that out before anyone starts coming. You forgot about Michael. We could have used it all night. Relax. We got it. Here, who we could use another, maybe we didn't. This would have changed our 2021 offseason completely. Darnell Mooney in the 5th round of the NFL draft. Mooney has lit the league on fire, really, this season, and he has been very good for the Bears with the Allen Robinson's absence for the young quarterback Justin Fields. He has had 62 receptions, 860 yards, and 3 touchdowns so far this season with a PFF grade of 72.2. And he is very solid, 24th in receiving yards among wide receivers. So he is a top 25 receiver that, in terms of receiving yards, at least, that the Bears acquired in the 5th round. So very good for the Bears. And I think this would be a nice piece for the Giants. And his speed over the top is lightning quick.
And I just want to make sure, Alex, my headphones for some reason disconnected. You can still hear and see me and everything's okay there?
Yes, you're all good. You're perfect.
All right, cool. Perfect. So I don't know if I gave it, but the DJ Wanham, I think that's how you say his name, out of South Carolina, the defensive end, was my honorable mention, who was picked 117 in round 4. Now on to round 5 when you talked about Darnell Mooney, the wide receiver. Imagine if we actually picked the wide receiver in the draft, Alex. Imagine if Dave Gettleman pulled the trigger there. No. Of course not. But it would have been cool to draft a wide receiver like Darnell Mooney. Has been really good for the Chicago Bears. And you know who else has been really good for their respective team? The New York Jets. Not a lot of good things happened there, but one bright spot, cornerback Bryce Hall. Pick 158 was my honorable mention there in round 5. On to round 6. Pick 183. Ohio State safety, Jordan Fuller. Originally picked 199. The actual pick was Cam Brown, but when I tell you, Jordan Fuller should have been the way to go. And there's another player as well who is the honorable mention that I'll go to him in a second, which was, well, I'll just say it now. It was Isaiah Rodgers, who could have been another option that we could have gotten here. Him, who was picked at number 211, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, another wide receiver, but we went with Holmes already. Or not Darnell Holmes. I think it's Darnell Holmes. We already went with Darnell Mooney, so no point in picking wide receiver back-to-back. But Rodgers was another good cornerback that plays for the Colts. But anyway, Jordan Fuller leads his respected teams, the Rams, with 101 total tackles. And now going to interceptions, he had 3 last season. And he is, like I said, 101 tackles, 57 solo tackles this season, and 1 tackle for loss. So good for him. And Alex, I think you have the back-to-back here when we move into the 7th round picks, because we had a couple in this draft.
Yeah. Starting with our 218th pick here in the 7th round, we're going to start with another wide receiver, which is kind of crazy considering the Giants' history. Hasn't really lived up to expectations quite yet, but certainly the potential is there, and it's still very clear to see that. KJ Hill out of Ohio State. He's only had 3 receptions this year for 30 yards, but he has looked electric. And obviously in that passing offense that features Austin Eckler out of the backfield, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton. There's probably more that I'm forgetting. Jared Cook, if you want to add him as a passing weapon. He's certainly someone who's not really involved yet, but with the possible departure of Mike Williams, I think he certainly could be someone who becomes very important for that Chargers team. And I think he's going to be a successful player. And I think over Carter Coughlin is probably the right pick, if we're being completely honest. Now going 20 picks later, which we're going to have Mr. Jonathan Garvin. Sorry, I forgot his name there for a second. I was like, oh no, I was about to, talk about him. I was like, oh no, what's his name? Jonathan Garvin, defensive lineman out of, or at the Green Bay Packers currently, and he is out of Miami. Originally picked 242. We're having him move up 4 spots. And he, this season, had 9 tackles, 3 assisted tackles, and 2 sacks, which is not bad for a more interior guy. We've seen him play on the interior. He also plays in the inside. That's repetitive and redundant. He's played on the inside. He's also played on the edge as well. He came out as an edge. We've seen him in both spots. Pretty decent value. 2 sack guy season's pretty decent for the 7th round, right? So we're going to go with him as our second of 4 7th round picks. We had a lot of 7th round picks here, which made it very difficult, right, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you should have went through my honorable mentions while you were at both of those spots.
I'm sorry. I'm leaving the honors to you. It's your honorable mentions, right? So
sure. For the spot, the 7th round pick 218 that we selected, KJ Hill. My honorable mention was safety Geno Stone, who was actually picked 219, so 1 pick later. I believe he's a backup in Carolina, I want to say. And then you go to the 7th round pick 238. The original pick was, again, a pick after, back-to-back here. Pick 239 was cornerback Dane Johnson, who's a backup in Buffalo. So 2 guys that I saw who were like, oh, those are pretty good guys for the 7th round. It's funny, Alex, how many, when doing my research for this, a lot of the players either go to practice squads or IR after you pass the 3rd round. It's insane how many players get injured in this league. I went to all of these lists, and they're all on the IR, and they're out for the season, and they got injured in preseason week 4 when they were supposed to try out to make the team. And they just go on the reserve COVID, not the reserve COVID list, the reserve IR list. And that's it. Their season's over. Last 2 ones here. 7th round, pick 247. Wide receiver again. We're going insane with the wide receivers here. From Florida, Tyree Cleveland. He's a player on the Broncos. He's a special teamer. Joe Judge would love him here, and I think he's the right pick for us there. The honorable mention I had was tackle Tremaine Antrim Jr., who is a backup, I think, for the Ravens. I don't know for sure. He was a guy that I saw some tape on that he looked pretty good in his college days. And then the second one, 7th rounder, pick 255, Mr. Irrelevant. We're not changing up here. Linebacker out of Georgia, Tate Crowder. No honorable mention because, again, Mr. Irrelevant. He leads the Giants in tackles with 112 this season. No Blake Martinez, I get that. But the man has stepped in as an interior linebacker and has come in, and he's done what he's needed to do at the position. And that completes our draft with Mr. Irrelevant coming in at the final spot. And Mr. Irrelevant, again, I said Mr. Irrelevant up 15 times. That completes our 2020 Giants redraft.
Certainly does, and obviously we didn't choose like a Justin Herbert or something like that, which you probably would have taken. Most teams probably would have taken if they knew he was available, but we had to be realistic about it. So we stuck with the tackle spots. I forgot to mention that earlier because I know people are also going to say that. But in general, I think
somewhat realistic because we had a lot of wide receivers in there.
That's true. Giants would never take a wide receiver that early, unless it's Kadarius Toney. All I'd say...
How has that worked out for them?
That's true. I'd say this was a good draft. I think this would have made our team a lot better. Obviously, you can never make the best pick in each round, so it's easy sitting here in hindsight. But I think in the later rounds, what we've got to see now is that in the middle of our drafts and really towards the end, we need to be hitting on more players because we're really not hitting. Ideally, you want to be keeping 2-3 of your players if we're doing a redraft type of thing like this. And the only reason we kept Tate Crowder probably, and the only reason Tate Crowder's even playing is probably because of all our injuries and our lack of depth at linebacker. So I would say that it's not a great look for the Giants, but at least we hit on our Andrew Thomas pick, and that's the most important.
Yeah, and I mean, look forward to more content coming soon here on the Giant Take YouTube channel. Again, a lot of ideas coming your way. Your way, I guess, yeah. Subscribe again, drop a like, and you can go to shipitstudios.com/gianttake for all of our links to listen and watch here on the Giant Take YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and yeah, for Alex, my name is Josh, and look forward to our preview to listen to that, Giants versus Bears, coming this Sunday. But yeah. We're more excited for the content here on the Giant Take YouTube channel than we are Giants football games for the rest of the season. But we got 2 more left, so let's get them done. Let's take these L's and go from there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time on the Giant Take YouTube channel. Peace.